feel about the seating. And then this is what happened. I was like, here we go.
Oh, this seating at Apex was beyond abysmal, but you know, we'll save that for later. Because
I mean, it's really just that one pool that did not make.
Oh no, dude, there were some other pools.
Yeah,
I know there were some other pools. That one
particular pool was the absolute worst.
Yeah, that pool is crazy.
But all right, guys, so let's go.
OMG, why? Ask who is in the chat. It is it's called Zon. Crap, I can't remember. Rich Brown, the cat, Taro, Kirby. Is it Kirby Stamp?
Kirby Kid.
Kirby Kid. There we go. And I don't know if there's anyone else because I can't check my phone thingy.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the return of SmashCast. It's been quite a while, honestly, since we actually even had a SmashCast, but we're back, and tonight we're talking about something that's actually very important. It's kind of an ongoing topic that's been happening for quite some time. I wish it would just die or just the problem would fix itself, but it seems like the Smash community still has a lot of work to do. I am joined by Keitaro, Zon, Rich Brown, and Kirby Kid. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Hey.
Keitaro?
Hey, what's going on, sir?
Okay. Anywho, well, tonight, guys, we will be talking about Melee versus the Smash community. What was that? You guys still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right, cool. So yeah, we will be talking about Melee versus the Smash community, guys. And why do I say Melee and not games kind of separate into their own subcategory? Well, because when it comes to one unit, it's seeming like the only real one unit is between, let's say, Brawl, Smash 4, and 64. But Melee is kind of the one that's just not with it. And to be honest, it's a problem. It's a big problem, and it makes our scene look terrible. Because let's face it, if there's hate within a scene, then it gives the scene a bad look. And to be honest, I want to know your opinions, guys. What do you guys think of all this heckling that's been happening over the years? Like constant arguing, constant belittlement. It's kind of downright discrimination, in my opinion.
I guess I'll start. I made a couple statuses about this earlier. I'm just going to kind of reiterate what I said. You gotta.
Hey, Rich, you sound like a robot, and you're cutting in and out.
Oh no!
Try again.
Do I still sound that way?
Just keep talking. I'll let you know if it cuts off.
Okay. If not, I'll let someone else know.
Okay. Nah, it's still a problem.
Hello?
Yeah, Keitaro, would you like to go?
Wait, about what? I'm sorry, I just came back.
We're talking about the topic.
Okay, which topic in specific?
Just Melee versus Smash 4 in terms of the heckling and just not being with the entire one unit philosophy.
I mean, I guess I could start.
Yeah, because Rich was gonna start, but his mic like literally just exploded.
All right, I guess I'll start for now. Well, I was a little indifferent originally about the whole situation where, you know, I think it was Zero who had just won Smash 4, and I'm like, oh, cool, Zero won Smash 4, and I had the feeling. I'm like, I know they're going to say Melee. I know they're going to start yelling out Melee. It's just how long is it going to happen? Is it going to happen 5 seconds after Zero wins? Is it going to happen 20 seconds? Because the amount of time that it happens matters a lot. Because if Zero wins and then they start yelling it out within 10 seconds, that's kind of bad. But if they do it after like a minute, where it's like, okay, Zero won, congrats, he got off the stage. Then they're like, yeah, Melee's next. It's cool. Well, to me. So, how long did it feel for you that they started yelling out Melee after he won? Or you guys?
How did it feel for us when they did that?
Like, I mean, how long did it take from Zero winning Smash 4 to them yelling out Melee?
Not long at all. Not long at all. He did his little pop-off. That took about probably 10 seconds. And then he stood up on the chair, and then the Melee chant started.
I'm a little weird about it. I didn't get to see Scar's thing, but at first, the way I saw it, it didn't bother me so much because I felt like, okay, I know these guys are waiting for Melee. It's like 11 p.m. A lot of people in the crowd are waiting for Melee. So, you know, now they're like, yo, Melee's coming up. So they felt like the way I saw it in the beginning was they felt like they were hyped for Melee. So they're like, yeah, Melee's coming up next. Let's go, Melee. And then, you know, a lot of people said, hey, that's disrespectful. And I'm like thinking, no, they're just hyped for Melee. But in the end, it was disrespectful. They should have just given the Smash 4 people a little bit more time. However, this goes back to how I don't like to have two games on one stream, because I feel like if Melee happened first and then Smash 4, I could easily imagine Smash 4 people going Smash 4, like, because they're hyped for it, you know? And they may not have been trying to be disrespectful, but that's what they did. But it was disrespectful. It's not going to take away that it was, you know, it wasn't disrespectful. It was, but I just feel like some of the people who were yelling it out didn't mean to be mean. That's all. Still sucked.
All right. Well, I actually have a comment from Prague that he wanted me to read to the stream on his behalf because he couldn't be here. So essentially Prague said, "We've all made mistakes. I know I've made plenty of them. However, some of the most important things I've learned from the past are these two things. When you disrespect the scene, you disrespect people, their hard work, their contributions, their memories. When you disrespect the game, you disrespect people whose efforts may not match yours in interests, but will in passion, devotion, and love." He also said, "I was pissed that I had to stand up and quiet the crowd immediately when Zero won. I saw Naira when I sat down. He shook his head and mouthed, 'This is happening again?' I should have co-signed anyone for them to get the respect that they deserve. But the fact that I had to this weekend was an exercise in tedium and a showcase that Smash has a long way to go."
So I want to jump in and say a few things because this whole situation is really complicated, right? We're all focused on the Melee chant that happened at Apex recently, but we all acknowledge that a lot of things like this have been happening before, and it's not just coming from the Melee side directly to the Brawl or Smash 4 side, but you know, as time has gone on, we have cases and people have been talking about heckling that's going back and forth between many different groups, and it's kind of hard to follow, and it's happening all over the place, and it's uneven, but that just kind of makes this whole situation pretty complex. Like, without putting too much focus on the actual people that started the chant at Apex 2015, I just kind of wanted to explain that how we work as a community is very sort of grassroots oriented, and that means we don't have like a central body, we don't convene to take votes, we don't take like a large scale poll or anything, and it's really just the will and the faith of all of us individually coming together for these large events, for our individual weeklies. And a lot of times that works great when there aren't a lot of complex issues to work out, like dividing up stream time, dividing up tournament resources, and things like that. When tournaments are just one game or 1 and 2 games, it's a lot easier to avoid these problems. But I think a lot of what we're facing nowadays just comes from the fact that we're so big and we're only getting bigger, right? So I don't want to put too much blame on just the chanting. I don't want to focus too much on that. I don't want to put it just on the Melee players, but just sort of keep in mind that this whole situation isn't just one party and what they think. It's all these factors and settings that are coming into place to make this situation particularly explosive.
To kind of piggyback on that, and the person that was speaking was Kirby Kid, by the way. To piggyback off of that, I can't grasp the concept of belittling a scene due to them playing a game that you feel is not as good as the game you're playing. Especially when it comes from within the same series. You guys are playing the exact same series, and you know, Brawl's generation of players are a lot younger than Melee's. it's literally like the big brother picking on the little brother. And what saddens me is that now I'm seeing comments and posts by new players, like Apex was their first tournament, and some of the things that they had to see and dealt with in terms of belittlement or Melee players just being downright disrespectful has turned them off of the Smash community. The thing that we're trying our hardest to do is to bring new people in, and the exact thing that I knew this would happen. It's driving them away.
Yeah, I saw a couple of Reddit comments on some of the posts saying that that was their first tournament, and based on what happened with everything, not just the venue stuff, that's separate, but what happened with all the hate, they wouldn't come back for a while until it's fixed. And another comment I want to make is that I feel like in the moment, the Melee's players, their thoughts, it wasn't their first priority to give respect. Their first priority was, I want to see my matches because I was supposed to see them before. This shouldn't be happening. I don't want to watch this game. And
why? But
I feel
why
like
do that?
I feel like that's what we need to fix. That their first priority should be respect between the communities. I don't know how we can build that up, but it has to get there at some point.
Nah, dude. Literally today, after seeing some of the most toxic stuff, I watch Twitch chats, and of course there is the excuse, it's Twitch chat, man. I find that excuse to be lackluster, where of course people are going to be able to say whatever they want anonymously over the internet, but the fact of the matter is, it still shapes an image over our community as to what certain people are saying. And there's that comment. You saw that big 1 unit post where someone wished that the roof of the old venue would have collapsed on all of the Brawl and Smash 4 players. And it's just
some people sometimes.
When I saw that, excuse my language, what the fuck? I couldn't believe that someone actually had the nerve to say that. And that's not the first time I've seen stuff like that. This has been ongoing in years. Even when I first joined the scene, I knew something was fishy when I went to Brawl tournaments, and there was always only Brawl players there. But when Melee tournaments were hosted alongside Brawl tournaments, nobody would interact with each other, from at least what I saw. And it was weird as hell to me because it's the same game, Smash Brothers. It's the same thing, but different versions of the game. But I still thought that people would still interact with each other, at least on somewhat of a level. But then I saw Melee players disrespecting the Brawl players, and it was weird to me because I never actually saw Brawl players lash out at Melee players unless they were defending themselves.
Here's where it kind of comes from. This is what I was trying to say. Do I sound like a robot?
Keep talking because it happened again. But let's see how far you can go.
Okay. Well, think of when Brawl was first announced. Melee players, I was because to play. Everyone was excited. We thought we were getting this new thing.
Yo,
I think he's cutting out.
Yeah, Rich, you're cutting out.
What I'm about to say is.
If you can type it out, Rich, to I guess the Skype, we can read it. Whatever you have to say.
Things.
Still cutting out, my brother.
I mean, is he gonna type?
I assume so.
All right. Well,
Yeah. I think he's gonna try again. Well, not talk. No. You can talk.
Okay. I was gonna say, from my experience, I'm one of the people who've been in the community the longest. I originally was in the Melee community, from 2006 to 2008, to the point I went from being someone they never heard of to being one of the leaders of the NJ power rankings in my region. And when Brawl came out, I decided to join that. And it was very, very sad. I lost a lot of respect for a lot of people in the Melee community when I first joined Brawl because they trash talked Brawl so hard without even playing it. I had one guy said he went even with Mewtwo King a month or two after the game came out, and he doesn't play, and he went even with Brawl Captain Falcon against Mewtwo King's Meta Knight. First off, I'm sorry, I'm still annoyed by that comment. That's actually somebody that a lot of people may know. I'm not going to call him out, but just think about the fact that it was Captain Falcon. This guy said he went even against Mutzy King's Meta Knight, saying the game is just like flip a coin, rock, paper, scissors. And it was just really sad that all these Melee players were, hating on the game. It made me really hate the Melee community for maybe a year or two. Then eventually I realized it's just certain people, but it's just there's a lot of some people keep saying, oh, some people in the Melee community are, saying all these bad things. However, I don't even think it's some. It feels like at some points it's 50%, maybe more, and that's what sucks. So like saying some sounds like, oh, it's 10%. Maybe it's like 5 people, but I don't know what percent it is. But it really sucks to see that so many people just, hate the game and like vocally say it. I do respect a lot of top players and stuff because they don't go around saying that they hate the game. They say they're not interested in playing it. They don't say boo and scream out Melee. I'm happy the figureheads at least are like chilling, like and not chilling the player, but like just hanging out and not talking trash. But it just sucks that a lot of it could be Jimmy Joe 69 who got last place in Melee, who started the Melee chant, and then a lot of people just seem to follow. They think it's the cool thing to do, and it's like high school all over. I hated high school, by the way. So it's like high school all over again when people just follow what others are doing and they pick on people because others find it funny and everyone's laughing, and that's just what they do. I really don't like it, but I just don't know or think that it will ever change. And there's ways to avoid it happening, but I don't think that will actually ever change. Like the whole 1 unit thing, when that first came out, I'm like, LOL at 1 unit. I've seen what happened before. There's no such thing as 1 unit. We can help out another community. They can help us out. But in the long run, I feel like it's just separate. And it sucks that it's separate, but they're going to do what they want for their game. And if it comes down to it, they will stomp on the other game if they really need to.
And two things. I feel like that most of like the attitude or the perception of the Melee community is very bad to Smash 4 and Brawl players now because thanks NAKAT and Guitar for this cover. Oh, Doom is here, yeah. So I feel like that our perception of the Melee community is kind of hurt now because of all of the stuff that has happened over the years in terms of being attacked or ridiculed for playing a quote-unquote lesser game. And so I recall somebody in the chat saying that a TO was a dick to him because he was a Smash 4 TO, maybe? But
Wait, what?
Yeah, this guy in the chat said a TO, I think a Smash 4 TO was kind of like an asshole to him for being a Melee player. And while I don't think that's the right thing to do, from all the stuff that I've seen happen to our community, I'm not surprised that actually happened, and I apologize that you had to deal with that if that was true.
I think I know that exact situation. That might have been a situation where, I don't know 100%, but there's a situation where Brawl TVs were being used for Brawl, and some Melee players came over and decided to use it.
Oh, this was at Apex, actually. I know this Apex.
It happened at Skate Hard 3.
Oh, it happened there too?
Yeah, I was when it was on the day 2, I think. I was checking on my stream setup or recording setup, and they were taking TVs and Wii's, taking out the Brawl disc and using them for Melee and PM, and that's why Brawl was getting less and less setups there. Like I couldn't do much because I don't have the authority there, but
yeah, I actually didn't know about that. But for that situation at Apex, this one of the Smash 4 TOs came over and was pretty angry to see Brawl setups being changed, especially at that event where I think they didn't have any change of setups. Like if a setup was for a game, it was for a game. It was never ever supposed to be touched or changed. So for people to come over and just start changing Brawl to Melee, they got mad, and it happened twice. So I think the second time is where the Smash 4 TO may have been really rude about it. Which I don't. Not a big advocate for being rude on anything. I always agree to being nice and calm and chill, even when explaining stuff. But yeah.
So I kind of want to jump in and back up a lot of what's been said so far. Yeah, it's been really rough. There's been a lot of cases, as you said, popping up. There's a lot of stories out there. If you pay attention to Twitter, if you pay attention to Reddit, and just what people are saying, it's affecting all levels, from TOs to spectators, stream chat, to attendees, to people that just play Smash for fun recreationally. They see a lot of what's going on. They hear it. They're worried about it. They're concerned. And one of the reasons I know this is based on the survey that I started with Project Smash, just really trying to get a good idea of what Smashers think currently about the Smash community and what they hope for it. And everybody knows it's grim. Everybody knows that the problem runs pretty deep. Most of the people think that it's gotten worse, the whole Brawl v Melee thing. But in general, that's just one way of pointing to this whole issue of internal strife within the Smash community. And also based on the survey results, I see that there's a lot more diversity and there's a lot more of a pull for the one unit than you might think or you might seem from just observing Twitch chat. So it's kind of crazy. Been reading through about 700 different replies of just individual people, Smashers out there that have taken the time to really put their thoughts down into words, and that kind of changes my perspective on a lot of what's going on in the community. And one thing I know is that definitely because we're so large, it's increasingly difficult to do things that we just take for granted when you're a small community. Like back in the Melee days when I was working with the D crew down in Texas to get the very beginnings of the Melee competitive scene started back in 2002. It was just really easy to do things because we were all just a handful of us. We're friends. We could chat online or call each other up and get things taken care of just because of our group friend dynamic. But things have obviously grown since then, and I think a lot of people still feel and operate within the Smash community like it's as small as that group. Like they're your buddies. If you say something on Twitter, it's going to get out to a lot of people, and that message is going to somehow change the way we interact. So in my mind, there isn't a core Smash community to appeal to. We aren't one unit isn't exactly going to work, and it didn't really have a chance to work before because we're all sort of pretending like the unit is about a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 people, when the Smash community is upwards maybe 50 to 100,000 people or more. It's kind of hard to say because there are no really hard numbers. So I think it's sort of to address something you said, Kitaro, it is hopeless if you approach the one unit issue as in the same ways we've been doing, sort of ignoring the fact that we're so big, and big groups like this take some serious effort to organize, and it's going to take a lot more than just our tweets and like our occasional podcast or talking with just our friends in order to get something done.
It's like, well, first off, we also take into account that it isn't actually the entire Melee community. It's not all of them, but a large majority of the community acts this way. But the thing is, what started it? Like, what was the first instance where it was believable that this kind of thing was okay? Because
I feel like the documentary kind of played a part to it.
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the way the documentary portrayed Brawl. Like, I don't know, it wasn't like they were hating on it, but they made it seem like this isn't the game we want. They didn't say, oh, Brawl is a cool game, but we want something different. They were like, this isn't what we wanted. We didn't like. They made it seem like they don't like the game, and I feel like a lot of the people watching are like, yeah, you know what, you're right. I don't like that game. So now if they hear of anyone playing Brawl, they're like, oh, well, you play Brawl? Oh my god.
I feel like
you
continue talking. Sorry.
No, I'm done.
I feel like the documentary made it seem okay for people, or made it seem natural for people not to play Brawl. Like it was bad if you played Brawl. Like if you played Brawl, you're not normal. Like you should, I don't know. And I feel like, okay, well, let me show you an experience. I went to a Melee/Smash for 3DS tournament. And then Smash 4 3DS was being streamed on a giant projector, while Melee pools were going on. So we were watching the finals, and some Melee people are just looking up and watching, and I'm talking to some of them. They're like, yeah, I want to get into this game, but I don't really know how others in my community will feel if I play this game, so I'm just going to continue playing Melee. Like,
damn.
Just the fact that you're scared what other people will think because of what you play? Like, really? Like, come on, that's ridiculous. Just play what you want to play. Like, you don't have to care about whatever other people think. Like, that's not normal.
Well, I'm just happy you guys are here because a lot of you guys are people that came from Brawl, went to Smash 4, and still like the game. Like, even if some of you might like Brawl more, or Smash 4 more. You guys still like the game, that you're going to continue playing it. When I went from Melee to Brawl, I kid you not, like, if I had 20 Melee friends, only one of them would consider even playing Brawl, and the other 19 would make fun of the game and make fun of me for playing the game. They'd laugh at me, and I'm like, what is going on? I felt alone. I felt like it was me, Easy, in a good and bad way, Inui, Adamus, and like D and Brandon, and we were the only people who decided to play the new game. While everybody else, like 50 other people in my region, said, "Oh, we're gonna just stick with Melee or quit." So I just wanted to say I feel happy that like I went from Brawl to Smash 4, and instead of everyone leaving me, there's still a lot of people, if not most of the people here, and new people that have come in, along with some old people coming back. Not really related to the topic, but I just wanted to say that.
I want to point out that Rich Brown typed something, so NAKAT, if you wanted to read that.
Holy crap. Well, do you see it? If so, you can read it.
Okay, so he says, when Brawl came out, Melee players were disappointed because it wasn't the game they wanted. Brawl became this entity to them that took away from the game that they loved. All of their actions are born out of fear that another Smash game would threaten the livelihood of their game. Because, let's see, it just jumped up. Because for a while, even top Melee players would openly bash Brawl, the mindset trickled down into the rest of the community, where it became cool to hate Brawl and later hate any Smash game viewed as a threat to Melee. If we want change, it's up to the top figureheads in the Melee community to encourage their own community to support the other Smash games in the same way the other Smash games support them. Furthermore, it's up to Smash 4 community to continue to love and support their own game and demonstrate to anyone considering joining the scene what a close, connected, loving community we all have the capacity to be.
Essentially saying, just be the bigger person. And set the right example.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think that's a really great point. It's something we easily understand based on our own lived experiences, right? Like, we hear that all the time: set the example, be the bigger person, walk away from certain kind of conflicts, and that does well for both you and the people around you. And I think that's a great thing also for the Smash community at large to do. But there's a whole lot of us, and I think this kind of message needs to go into all the figureheads, even for the groups that are just 5 people strong that maybe just play Smash at their own school, and definitely to the top players, definitely to the streamers. I think a lot more needs to be done in order to both, 1, figure out what their message is, and 2, to promote it actively. Because I was going to say before, we all realize that a lot of people are young players and they see what's in the Smash community and they join because they like what they see. I think the documentary did a lot to attract a lot of new players. I'm getting this feedback directly from the survey results that I took. Just people saying, I joined the Smash community 6 months ago, 1 year ago. I saw the documentary and I never knew that existed and I wanted in. So people are very specifically saying this, and I think that documentary in a really real way set the tone and was like the community leader for all those players that otherwise don't have other real life human players to sort of interact with, to learn how to interact within the Smash community. So I often ask, where are our community leaders? Are our tournaments more about competition, or are they about actually growing as a community, which involves, getting to know each other, spending time and working for each other instead of just running an efficient event and calling it a day? Like, who is taking the time to convey these ideas rather than just kind of go through the general Smash motions? Are we promoting hype, or are we promoting a community? And I think a lot of those questions can be cleared up.
Excuse me, I'm trying to grab a Melee vet. You guys still there?
Yeah.
Still here.
Yeah.
You guys can continue to discuss. I'm just trying to grab a Melee vet.
I feel like a lot of people in the Melee community, when they hear our community saying not to hate, I feel like they get the wrong idea that they have to like the game. Like, you don't have to like the game. You can like whatever you want. It's not what we're trying to do, but don't actively hate on it. That's just unproductive and a waste of your time. Like, instead of, you don't get anything from openly hating on another community. Like, that's just wasted time.
Didn't the FGC demonstrate this behavior to Smash in general?
Yeah, it's like repeating what happened. We wanted, I guess we wanted recognition from the FGC, and we didn't get that, so we just, decided to be our own community, and that's kind of what Melee is doing to other communities, being the FGC to Smash. That's ridiculous because it's all one community essentially.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of lessons that the Smash community didn't learn based on how we were treated. I think you see this kind of thing happen all the time in history and in communities, both large and small. If you don't take the care to sort of really articulate and be clear about what happened to a community and then, move on positively, then you're just kind of doomed to repeat the same kind of thing to somebody else or have it repeat to you. So, I mean, I know the Smash community is kind of old. We've been through a lot, and we've kind of lifted ourselves up out of the grassroots. But I think a lot of effort needs to be done to both tell people where we've come from and where we can go, just based on sort of a philosophy and an attitude kind of thing.
Now, TK brought up a point that in 2008 through 2011, I think Brawl players were demonstrating toxic behavior. Now, I was a Wi-Fi kid from like 2008 to late 2009, so I was oblivious to this. Guitar, do you have any memory of this at all?
I'm sorry, I was on mute. So he's saying Brawl players demonstrated a toxic behavior?
Yeah, TK made a tweet. Someone linked it earlier, and now I lost it, but...
Wait, is he the one that said that?
Yeah, TKO.
Said that Brawl players are being toxic?
He didn't say necessarily Brawl players are being toxic. Where's the tweet at? But I think he said that that Brawl players swear that in 2008 through 2011 they weren't the ones doing any bullying or something like that.
Brawl players doing bullying. There was a lot of battles where they tried to defend themselves. As you guys already probably know, I used to personally love when Ally tweeted like attacking the other scene because, for the 50 attacks that they did on us, we had at least one person who was always willing to stand up and like fight fire, which now I don't fully believe in. But I know some people who did try to do bullying back, but it's only because like if you're getting picked on, you're going to try to fight it. You can sit there and take it, or you could sit there and try to fight it.
What the hell? I'm sorry. What Yorkie 13? Nakash trash Melee a lot. Do you try to get Liquid to sign him by saying he's more significant than Ken? What? I've never said that. But okay, you can continue.
Okay, that was interesting. But I don't recall. I mean, I do recall some levels, but like it's 50-fold on the other side, like 50-fold. You can go to a Melee tournament in 2008 and be like, "What do you think of Brawl in the community?" Like, just ask anyone. There's a video that some may have seen of that features some current Brawl players or Smash 4 players saying like it's either F Brawl or I hate Brawl. I forgot which one they say, and like it just shows just how strong and how cool it was to hate on Brawl. That some people who continue to play Brawl and in the end love the game were in 2008 saying F Brawl. And I'm just like, what? I saw that video. It blew my mind. But it didn't. It blew my mind because I didn't know some of these people said that. But it didn't blow my mind where I'm like, wow, this is surprising this happened. I'm like, no, this is how 2008 was. 2008 was like 50% of the people who were playing Brawl hated the game, and they vocally said it out loud. That's why I like the later years when the people actually like the game. And then now it's funny because they're like, yeah, man, Brawl. But, Smash 4 is out. So I don't recall. I do remember some people fighting back and being some level of toxic, which was like, relax. But it was nowhere near the level the other scene was giving us. Like, no matter what, 2008 Brawl was way worse than anything I've ever seen in my life compared to what we're dealing with now. Like, as in how the people or the Melee community reacted towards the other game.
It was worse.
As in, like, then? it was yes, it was worse back then. It was way worse. Like, the way the community reacted towards our game was absolutely terrible because there was no Brawl people that actually stood up for the game in the first place. Like, there was barely anybody. Like, most of the people who were playing it, we can go to a 70-man regional, and 50 of the people were like, screw this game. So it was like nobody liked the game. It was a very few amount that said, I love this game. And people were afraid to say they liked the game because they thought that they would look stupid. So I respected certain people that did say they loved the game, like Spammerer used to say, I love Brawl. He used to make statuses. I'm like, yeah. But then out of nowhere, he's just like, screw this game. I'm like, whoa. Yes, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you see. So there was a comment made before about this is all Smash. We're all come from the same series line. We're all kind of brothers in that sense. So how can we hate each other? But man, like, don't put it past humans to find the smallest reason, the smallest difference, in order to turn into a huge, big, significant like flame war. I mean, this happens all across the world in all communities and cultures and all over the place. So it doesn't surprise me that even though from an outside perspective people see all of Smash as one kind of experience, one kind of game, like that doesn't stop people from either wanting to hate if they want to hate, or being misinformed, or just going with whatever the crowd's going, or being afraid of swimming against the crowd. So I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I don't like putting a lot of blame on Melee players. I don't like calling them out necessarily, even though a lot of what's being directed at the other Smash games shouldn't happen. I think it's terrible. There is a lot of truth to the wars and the fighting that's gone back and forth. Again, in the survey results, which I love referencing, because it's just people being honest and just a really organized effort of that. Based on the results, I hear reports about people who, like Katara said, fighting back, and there's not a lot of people in the Brawl early days that fought back, but people admitted that there were there, that they've done it, that they participated even though it wasn't helpful, that they felt like they were cornered, or they just got tired of the harassment and everything like that. And while a lot of these reactions are understandable, I put a lot of my focus and time into figuring out how to fix these kinds of things, how to change the way that people interact without necessarily changing their opinion. Because like you said, like, I don't care if you hate all the Smash games and somehow you're still secretly a part of the Smash community. There's a certain way that you can operate. There's a certain way that you should act that's just respectful for everybody else around you, and it's just working to build a better, positive community overall, right? I think I do a lot of work with games criticism, like as a game developer and a game writer and a game critic. I do a lot of projects that really look at this idea of how do we talk about games and how does that make us better for taking the work to do it. And in a lot of ways, I think people use their opinions more like a weapon than it is sort of like a doorway, right? You can not like a lot of stuff about the game. Your overall opinion can be very negative, very sour, but you can still engage in a conversation with someone who feels the opposite in a very positive and constructive ways. And I think that kind of way to do community, that kind of conversation, isn't modeled well in the world, right? You see very few cases on TV or just like debates or within communities, like sub-communities in the gaming industry, that really model how good a conversation can be, how constructive it can be, despite the fact that both people are coming at it from opposite ends. So in a lot of ways, I live in this world, and I don't blame people for struggling to find the words, find the avenues or the methods in order to get the cross talk started. That's why I'm making a personal investment with Project Smash to help out in any way that I can. So yeah, I just think it's really complicated, right? There's a lot of fingers you can point, but getting at the root issue is just so much harder than just saying, how did this happen and how do we stop these symptoms, right? There's a root issue at the heart of this.
But what do you guys think we could do to make things better on our side? Think of it as if we're not receiving any cooperation. What could the Smash 4 community alone do to relieve some of what is going on?
All right. Well, one of the things I'd say is we need to take each individual problem, and deal with it like individually. First off, I'm still blown away by the idea that Melee was streamed last. I know Melee kind of has the biggest community at the moment, but for an event sponsored by Nintendo, and Smash 4 just came out, I personally thought that Smash 4 would be the last game streamed, And I feel like we probably would have avoided that whole chanting issue or the Melee people getting all antsy if, we didn't have it stream Melee, then Smash 4, then Melee. Like, I don't know what the idea was for that type of stream schedule on VG Bootcamp's channel. So I'd say either that Smash 4 at big events like that should be streamed last. It's not the best idea for numbers, but it's to avoid stuff like this, it works. Or they just have completely separate streams. If one guy's streaming one game, one guy's streaming the other, we're not going to hear any complaints. Team Spooky was streaming Smash 4, people were fine. VG was streaming Melee, they were fine. It's just once they had to put, both games onto one stream, that's where we had issues.
I listened to an interview yesterday with Nintendo, hosted by Wife, and since Nintendo was on the staff of Apex, he really had some great insight as to the whole event, from running it to what it was like to be there, and what it was like from his perspective to get all this stuff changed on him at the last second, him and the team. So that was a really good listen, and one thing he addressed was scheduling and why certain events were arranged in the way they were and how they couldn't be avoided, and he addressed a lot of issues like that. I encourage people to watch that. There'll be a link somewhere after this. But one thing that you said, Katara, was reminded me of the fact that, based on certain interests, whether Nintendo wanted this or whether the people, that they made promises to certain communities like the Smash 64 community, which doesn't get a lot of mentions in conversations like this, but I always keep some of the growing and underdog communities in mind. There's a lot of things that were balanced in the air in order to determine that everything would go on one stream. I think Gimmer really wanted to have both finals on his stream, so that kind of determined that. But in standard fighting game tournaments, right, you have your big popular game at the end, and that's sort of the way that tournament supports the community in a way. Like, if everybody is wanting to watch Street Fighter finals, they'll hang around beforehand to watch the other games, maybe get a little exposure that wouldn't be there otherwise, maybe mingle with their communities and their comments, and you save your big game for the grand finale. So I think I hear a lot of comments on Twitter that Melee players said, why did we have to wait to the end when we never wanted to watch Smash 4? You being the big dog, and I'm pretty sure that the Melee players, like, a lot of their attitude was they came there for Melee and they think it's the best. But if you really feel like you're the best, that's the slot you get, the final grand finale big send-off. That's your privilege. That's what you earned. And it's kind of weird that everywhere else in the gaming community and the fighting game community, they understand that, but there's a lot of players out there that don't get it.
Someone is telling me that Melee was the smaller scene. Lots of people bullied people for playing an old dying game. Basically, it was a war. Fire on both sides, toxic people on both sides.
You mean back in 2008, 9?
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone messaged this to you? I think he's messaging it to me, too.
Taiwan Matthews?
Yeah, he said, I admit I spoke out against Brawl and its gameplay, but only after Brawl people were going in on how the game was old or dying, etc. I had no idea at the time there was a war. Also, many new Smash 4 players told me they hated Smash 4 Top 8. Many thought Melee was the better game. I literally heard someone say they thought Melee was better despite never seeing it before. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's somebody who would say Smash 4 was better despite never seeing it before.
Yeah, like everybody has an opinion.
Yeah, like I wouldn't take like one person's opinion and make it like law, but that's interesting to see. He did say that. See, like the way he's speaking about it, where he's like, "Oh, Brawl people were saying it's a dying game." Yeah, a lot of people were saying that. I remember because Melee was technically dying when Brawl came out. It's like the Melee people, they didn't decide, "Hey, I'm going to stick to my old game and continue playing." They just, like, the TOs stopped hosting for it. They just started quitting. They moved on with their lives. They're like, "Oh, I got a job. I'm a senior in college. I'm going to just quit Melee." And a lot of Melee players did that for a bit. So it's like Brawl kind of was destroying their scene. So a lot of the Melee players were attacking the Brawl players, and Brawl players were like making fun of Melee. But I feel like it was still more of a defensive type of thing. Like, they were not going to go out and attack, or make fun of somebody who still plays Melee. But maybe some people did, and I didn't see it as much. But I'm just saying, like, I felt like a lot of the Brawl people were chill. A lot of the Brawl people were like, "Oh yeah, I play Melee too," But on the other side, it's like, if you talk to a Melee player, it would be like, "What? I don't play Brawl. Are you kidding me?" Or I forgot what they used to spell it in a weird way. Where it looked like throw up. It goes Brawl or Brawl. I forgot how I spelled it. But obviously, there were Brawl people attacking. I'm just saying, and it's not a good thing. It was not a good thing for the Brawl people to be making fun of the Melee scene, the Melee community, saying the game's dying, the game's old. Are you still playing it? That I still think that's bad. I was just saying that there was a lot more Melee people attacking the Brawl people than there were Brawl people attacking Melee. But regardless, either side was not right.
In the end, we're all human. Hate is a human thing. It's not determined by if you play Brawl or Melee.
Well, in this
scenario, it's not acceptable. But in this scenario right now, it's happening more with Melee than it is with Smash 4.
And Smash 4 is a new game. Like the new blood that's joining the community didn't do anything to deserve to be treated in such a way. Whereas I don't think anybody's done anything to be treated any kind of way. But the fact that it's happening is not only alarming, but it's disappointing.
Yeah, and I feel like it's more that it's not like, I mean, hate is something you can't really stop, but if you can make it unacceptable, that's what we're trying to do.
Also, Tawan said, this isn't Melee's fault, it's Smash 4's fault, and people in the community choose to play lame. I don't know if I would say it's the fault of the people to play lame. The people are playing to win. No matter which way or what character they go to win, like, that's who they have to go to win. If the Buzz said that against Abadango, he was, like, going in, and he realized it wasn't working. He decided to camp, and it worked. Like, as much as it might not have been fun to watch that, that's how he has to play to win. He has to do what he has to do to win. You can't say, like, you can't technically blame him.
You could also just not watch the
playing
Buzz.
to win.
Just don't watch the player.
Yeah, nobody's forcing you to watch.
He also said people booed Melee Grand Finals. It actually makes you wonder. Like, I don't think it was. Yeah. Oh, this is for Apex 20, I think 14 or 2012. I think 2012. When it was,
is that the one with the timeout?
Armada versus Hungrybox.
Oh,
yeah.
Are you sure that wasn't from your own community as well?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm pretty sure it was from people from their own community as well. I doubt it was a bunch of Brawl people sitting there, staying around to watch Melee, because a lot of times they don't, and sitting there booing that type of thing. If anything, I'd see a lot of Brawl people use that as an example to say, hey, they're making fun of Brawl, but check this out. And look at this Grand Finals, which I don't think is a good comparison. Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the videos, you can hear less boos and more people cheering for the timeout, because I watched that recently.
Oh, really?
They're definitely counting down the timer. I mean, maybe there were people booing, but I don't think it was from the Brawl community.
I mean, I'll be blunt, and when I watched Top 8 of Smash 4, it wasn't exactly as exciting as I thought it would be. Like, I'm just going to say that off the bat. Maybe it was the crowd that was affecting it, because there was a lot of Melee people waiting for Smash 4 to end, so maybe that affected my judgment. Because in Melee, when you watch Top 8, it's a lot of people go, oh my god, oh! But for Smash 4, it's people just sitting there waiting, or maybe slightly complaining, saying, when is Melee going to come on? So, I don't know, maybe that affected it, but it was a little campy than usual, and I think, I don't know, I just feel like the Buzz being in losers and then having to play a bunch of people was just a situation that was a little unfortunate. I love the guy, I'm happy for him, it's just Rosalina plays kind of campy.
So this issue we're currently talking about is actually sort of a new thing for the Smash community. It's something we didn't have to deal with at the beginning of Brawl. This idea of how entertaining our matches are to watch, right? Streamers, sponsors, all these weird new issues that come with a growing community and trying to get into esports. So when we were playing Brawl back in the day, and even the beginning of Melee, all we really cared about was playing the game with each other, and we were really happy to just sit down and play our matches out, and we weren't worried about going to time. We weren't worried about tournaments running long, because the tournaments just weren't as big as they are now. And now we have all these new concerns where we're worried about how cool the game looks with certain players and characters get on stream, and how that looks to the viewership, and how people will talk about it on Twitch as it's happening. And I really think a lot of those concerns, or there's a priority to every concern, and there's also a lot to be said about why each type of scenario may play out. Like, I think a lot of people don't realize what Melee was like in the beginning days, because they certainly weren't around. I was around and I know exactly what it's like. I remember every tournament and every player and almost every match and everything that was going on. How slow we were, how bad we were when something new hit the scene. How it proliferated all of our play styles. And I remember it took a long time to get things going to the sort of melee that everybody thinks it is today, right? And I think a lot of people expect out of the box for new games, Brawl and Smash 4, to have that kind of history, that kind of hype, that kind of player sort of investment when really it's something that you build up over a long period of time. So you can't fake that. You can't make it, you can't buy it. It's just something that comes with age, and a lot of people are using the opinion of what the matches look like, their opinion of how they feel of the game in the first few months in order to make these huge, grand, sweeping statements. And there's just so much to sort of weed through. There's so much to untangle that we definitely do need community leaders stepping up and saying, hey, calm down, everybody. Hold on to your opinions. Have them, have good conversations, but don't be so quick to judge.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Melee has had, 12, 13, 14 years to develop. You can't cut Smash 4. It's been 3 months, maybe?
I think it's been 3 months.
You can't compare. You just can't compare. You're fine. Your opinion's worth whatever you want it to be, but in the end, it just hasn't had as much time to develop as Melee has. Even Brawl hasn't had as much time to develop.
Yeah.
I told myself that I wouldn't actually tackle this subject anymore because I didn't see change. I just felt like the same thing has been happening each year. But I care too much to not actually sit here and try and keep trying and trying and trying and trying for something that seems bleak but could be possible with the efforts of everybody working together. And I feel
time
like
changes things.
Huh?
No, I just said time changes things. Things can change over time.
And
Go ahead.
I feel like the best and easiest way that this could even remotely be a possibility is if we gain the voices of not only just the Brawl Smash 4 figureheads, but the Melee figureheads as well. The top players too, speaking out to their community. Or at least sharing somewhat of a similar mindset so they can also set the example of, you guys sound ridiculous. Or we're too old for this. Because in the long run, I feel like if the Smash community did actually work together and one unit was actually a real thing, do you know how large we could get? Or just how better things could be for everybody?
Yeah, you bring up some great points. How to take it from a conversation like this, a situation like this, and really start working on manageable steps that can actually make change happen. And that's definitely, I think, worth your time, worth my time. It's worth everyone listening to just sort of consider new things that can be done and have an open mind and be willing to share the work that's being done already. It's something that I've been brainstorming, I guess, since last March when I first had the drive to start Project Smash and really trying to look at our community and say, what actually needs to be done if you took this as seriously as you do, a full-time job, and what methods have worked for other communities, doing a lot of research and just brainstorming, right? And I definitely am always open for a conversation like this. I always, even in the roundtables that we've had with Project Smash, trying to get Smash 64 players in, trying to get Melee, Brawl, and Smash 4 players, trying to get spectators and competitors and tournament organizers, every single type of Smasher to be in on the conversation because all of their perspectives and voices are important. But that figuring out what that next step is, that's crazy. That's the hard stuff.
I wonder what's going to happen at EVO. Oh God.
Oh God.
Yeah, we need a plan
Are
for
we gonna
that,
do
and
the
we need
same
a plan
thing?
for it. Right
I mean,
now.
I was planning for the off chance that Smash 4 replaced Melee at EVO this year. Just the mob.
Oh, if Smash 4 replaced it?
Oh yeah, I was totally prepared for that.
Oh yeah, that was gonna.
I mean,
be
another
ugly.
thing I'm prepared for is the fact that even though both games are there, they might see it as like both games aren't going to be there forever. So one game might feel like they have to show up the other.
Yeah.
Like, so I feel like there's a chance Melee players might be willing to sit there and make Melee look as hype as possible and Smash 4 look as bad as possible, so that in the future they'll be like, yo, why did you ever have Smash 4? You saw how unhype it was, just put on Melee only.
Yeah,
But
no.
at the same time, we luckily have Nintendo, who's putting in their opinions and willing to sponsor events. And obviously, as much as they are helping out the Melee community, like, they obviously care about Smash 4 the most, if you were to ask me at least, because it's the new game that came out. So because of that, they're always going to push for Smash 4. And so luckily we have, Nintendo out there trying to help the community.
Nah. Sometimes I really feel like you're a Smash 4 elitist and I don't know how to tackle it. You're incorrect. I actually love Melee. I love 64. I love Smash Brothers. I love all of the Smash games. I'm just defending the community that I've been a part of for so long because I've seen it firsthand of how things have been happening. Not a Smash 4 elitist, though.
Yeah, it's hard when you get into this zone where you feel like you have to defend and push back, and then you feel like you have to like be proactive about the stuff you like, and that it seems like it's coming across incorrectly. It's going to be tough these next few months. It's going to have a lot of sensitive like areas that get brought up just with topics like Melee versus. I don't really like talking about Melee versus. I mean, it's all our problem. And the reason we're coming together is because we either feel like we're on the receiving end of it or it could be better for everybody. So why not pitch in now and do some work on it? And yeah, definitely, just like NAKAT said, I talk a lot of. I love Brawl. It was my favorite Smash, but I'm really digging Smash 4 right now. I guess I still play all the Smashes, but 64 competitively. I travel for tournaments and Inter Melee, and I did PM2 and Smash 4. So it's not like there's so many different types of Smashers. I just really want to encourage people not to jump the gun and sort of stereotype or judge people too quickly, because it's everyone's different and our tastes are complex, right? It takes a long time to unpack that. I think we need to get a plan going for Evo. Now that the way you brought that up, NAKAT, where
that was actually Katara.
Or Qatar, sorry. Was it how you were saying you were ready for if Smash 4 would replaced Melee at Evo, you were kind of ready for a war, and how just kind of thinking ahead what's going to happen. Definitely need to. That's now going to be a top priority in my mind as I reach out to people in the next few months to get something done. But yeah, just coming up with actionable things is what I'm thinking of right now.
I think one of the best things to do is have the big leaders in Melee have a big thing, maybe the day before finals, saying, please show respect towards the other game. Maybe bring up what happened at the last two Apexes and say, we do not do this. We must be big and strong, and even if you don't like the other game, respect the other game and don't hate on it. So maybe if like that were to happen from, let's say, Prague or D1 or Gimmer the day before, then maybe they won't yell out Melee. Maybe. And if that doesn't happen, they're yelling out Melee. Like, you can't control people in the crowd. Half of the people are going to be like FGC people who don't even know anything, like who might not even know who Prague and D1 are. So it's going to be rough. Like I said, it's going to be rough. If they stream Smash 4 before Melee, I could put money, I'd probably bet money down that they'd start yelling out Melee after Smash 4 is done.
Have you guys been to Evo?
Right now,
Never been to Evo, but I will definitely be there this year.
I went to 2013. Really well-run tournament. Lots of space, lots of craziness. I hung out mostly in the second huge room that they had for the indie games. I was showing off a game I was developing, and the multiple monitors that they have and the seats and the space that they have. I don't know if what you guys are concerned about will be as much of a problem. Of course, I have no idea how they plan on setting up for the next Evo, but I mean, there's a lot of things from personal experience that I think gets wouldn't be a concern if they did it in a very similar way this coming Evo. Kind of like how you said having two streams before would have prevented the Melee chance, but that doesn't take away their thoughts and opinions, and it doesn't take away the fact that they would have melee chanted if the situation was different. So I'm always trying to sort of dig down and figure out why people feel like they're attacked, why they feel like there's been an injustice, why they feel like they're wronged, and trying to address those concerns so that the whole motivation to even chant out something like that would be a very different thing.
Very, very true. It's like you want to find out why it's happening to make it, even if like they both were streamed on the same thing, to make it, to avoid that happening. I just feel like it's really rough. Unless the game, was changed to be more like Melee, it still would be hard to imagine. There's just people who don't understand. I'm not saying people aren't willing to change, but it's even if you get to change a lot of people, there's going to be a lot of people who aren't willing to change. But it could be possible, and that's a good thought by you to think, to be able to figure out why they're doing that and to make them possibly stop instead of trying to go around it. It's like if we have tigers. I always use weird metaphors, I apologize. But it's like if we have tigers and you put a human in the tiger den, he tries to eat the human, and you're like, damn, okay, so how about we just don't put the human in the tiger, and then we're good. It's like you're trying to make the tiger actually say, you know what, human, I'm not going to rip off your leg. I'm just going to talk to you and lick you on the head. And that's what we want.
Yeah, what the hell are you talking about?
You should have said,
that I understand?
if you feed the tiger ahead of time, it will be less likely to bite the human's head off. It's about understanding the tiger was just hungry, and everybody has their own motivations and desires, and appealing to that in their own unique ways, how more people will get along. I mean, I like metaphors too.
Oh God. I mean, somebody was just talking about the D1 Gimmer thing. That thing blew my mind. I don't know if you guys.
I don't know about that. Can you please talk about it?
Okay, so after Apex finished, for whatever reason, these Project M threads are made where they started putting like Gimmer, D1, and other people on blast, community leaders basically, especially in the Melee scene, on blast for not speaking about Project M. Like people would ask, "Hey, what about Project M?" And they won't even say a word. They won't respond, nothing. And I don't know exactly what's going on between, let's say Nintendo or whoever and Gimmer and D1, but others are just blaming them, saying like Gimmer, we helped free you, that whole free Gimmer thing. We helped free, and now you just put us to the side. And D1, you did all these commentary, blah blah blah. And you were like, yeah, man, PM's awesome, and now you just don't even say a word and leave it in the dust. And people are just attacking them for that, without even trying to maybe figure out why they're doing it or reason it. They're just attacking. Like I don't like when anyone gets attacked ever. So when I saw that happen, it just pissed me off. Like, why are you guys doing this? They have some sort of reason for not speaking out about it, and I feel bad for them because they're in a situation where I don't even know if they can ever speak about it now. I know Gimmer said he's going to say something soon, but I really wonder what he's going to say, because
apparently someone said that Gimmer's preaching, so he might have done it tonight, but I didn't see it exactly. I'll just watch the archives. But however, what? I don't even know how to actually respond to that.
It's just interesting to see like another community getting like shafted in a way.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of the Smash 4 players were at first happy when they saw PM getting shafted, because they were used to getting shafted, but then they're trying to say, yeah, eat it, PM. And I'm like, no. It's not what we're taught to do. You don't bully other people because you were bullied before by them, so now you bully them back. That's not how the world works.
But I mean, that's how the world works, but that's not how it should work.
Yeah,
you don't want to go down that path.
Yeah, I did not like how that was going on. And then the whole blaming thing, like, I'm just saying, at least on Reddit, I've seen fingers get pointed at everybody in every land ever. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You could be Juggle Guy, you could be D1, you could be Jesus. They're going to point fingers and say you did not walk on water even though you videotaped it. Like, they're going to find some way to just make a Reddit thread about you, and bitch, it's kind of sucks.
The PM situation is really sensitive, and for a variety of reasons. As a community, right? Like there's all kinds of legal reasons why PM probably wasn't at Apex, and there's all these issues of how can it move forward as a community when there's this thing looming in over its head that it's a mod, and like stuff like that gets shut down all the time. Intellectual property and right holders. So, sidestepping all of that, I think just as a community, there's a lot that the PM community can do for itself. There's a lot that we should do. Anybody else who's a part of the Smash community can do to reach out to them in terms of giving them, giving them shout outs, giving them certain spaces at certain venues, or just really helping them get their own thing started so that even if literally we can't have each other's games at the same venue, at the same tournaments, we can at least throw our support for them in other ways. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing that communities do for each other. It's the kind of thing that you can do when you're organized and when you have a clear idea of what you want as an individual and then how you can help the community at large, because your interests will be at least discussed, at least considered, and then you feel like you're not being ignored. People hate the feeling of being ignored. People hate the feeling of being betrayed and abandoned. And in many ways, the Melee community felt like that when a lot of people just shifted over to Brawl. That's why a lot of people still say it's not, you shouldn't just go to the next game automatically, brainlessly, or mindlessly. Like that idea came out of the fact that a lot of people went over to Brawl at the beginning because it was new, but that's not the only thing that kept us there, right? For the people who like Brawl, it's the same thing that's happening with the PM community, right? There's a lot of things happening in the transition, and I just kind of give them shout outs whenever I can, try to reach out to them whenever I can.
But now the whole issue with PM, I don't even actually quite understand it. I don't know what Nintendo's intentions are with PM. Of course, D1 would probably know, but you can't just attack D1 mindlessly without actually knowing his thoughts, especially before knowing his thoughts, or knowing why, the exact reason why he has to act the way he's acting. Truthfully, he might still love PM. Who knows? And maybe he's not even trying to disrespect it or disregard it, but there has to be a good enough reason behind their actions, and hold your horses and just wait for them to speak up, in my opinion.
Somebody said someone has to mention the Nintendo sponsorship stuff, because I guess a lot of people don't know what Nintendo did. Some people were like, oh, because like at EVO, it looked like they just slapped their name there. So I don't recall them giving money. But here, they not only had Splatoon, but they provided like over $20,000 worth of setups for Apex, which included Wii U's and adapters. And I believe they provided, I think Melee or Brawl, they provided setups for other games too.
Yeah, they supplied.
Hold on. They supplied GameCubes?
Yeah, they did 64 setups for us. 64 copies of Melee, 64 copies of Brawl, and 64 copies of Smash 4, including the adapters. They have the exact numbers, and they were talked about on that other interview I mentioned earlier. But yeah, Nintendo stepped up and did a lot with just the equipment.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's a good replacement for PM, because honestly, I don't see anything as like a perfect replacement for removing an entire game. But it's something where people are trying to go, wow, Nintendo did barely anything. Like, just that alone is beautiful. It sucks that Splatoon couldn't get moved over to the new venue, but I didn't even know that they gave all those setups. I thought it was just Wii U's and adapters. When I saw that, I was like, wow, I need to contact Nintendo ASAP. Because with setups like that, you can do whatever you want. Like, oh, man, you can... Oh, I would love to get setups like that for Nintendo. Hey, if you're watching Nintendo, hi.
Evo?
Yeah, they were involved last year.
They'll be involved this year.
Yeah, they probably will.
Because if they got if they have that for Evo 2, like, we are set.
Yeah, like they're definitely going to be involved with Evo. I just don't know if they're going to be involved like they were with Apex.
Nintendo also provided the newcomer stream. They facilitated it or helped make it happen.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Like they did so much. They did a lot. And I know that they plan for a fact that they plan on doing this at more tourneys besides just Evo. They plan on reaching out to other TOs, and I hope they know who to reach out to and do this more often at like not events not as big as Apex and Evo, but other events like that, you know, are still big but need help.
You hinting at anything?
Not really, because I could hint. All I'm saying is that they're definitely looking to help out more than just like, oh look, we helped out Evo. Oh look, we helped out Apex. Okay, see you guys at next Evo, next Apex. They're looking out to help more beyond that. It's just I don't know where it goes from there. I just know that they're looking out to help more. And I knew somebody who had who told me this. But yeah, damn, I feel like I'm just running in circles around this. I mean, bluntly, that person who told me this and who had direct connections with all this type of information is not too a part of the community anymore.
Okay, we obviously know who it is.
Yeah.
Obviously.
I mean, it's pretty blunt and it's obvious to say it would be Alex Strife. He was the person that had a lot of direct connections, and that's why when this whole thing happened with Alex Strife, I'm like, wow, you know, a lot of people felt like he deserved this. He did a lot of crazy things. I know that for a fact. He pissed off a lot of people. Like, he's pissed me off before. But I know the level of connections he had was so huge that he can do so much. Like, if I wanted something, he can be like, oh, what's up, Guitar? Oh, you need, like, to the point, he was this powerful at, like, towards the end before he left. Oh, Guitar, you need a new venue? Hold up, let me make a phone call. All right, cool. I just got you a venue bought out. Oh, you need what? Oh, no problem. Okay, hold on. I got Nintendo on the other line. Hold on real quick. That's like as powerful as Strife was right at the end. So basically, by him disappearing, we technically lose those connections. I just hope those connections go to somebody else.
Yeah.
That's all. So it stays with us.
Well, they'll have to be, but then it all determines on who's going to take over Apex.
Because technically speaking, Twitch bought out the new venue, which was a surprise to a lot of people. Not a surprise to me because, like I said, I talked to Alex Strife a lot. So them doing that was like, oh, wow, okay, they did it now instead of later. Like, that's how I saw it. Other people are like, whoa, Twitch. I'm like, they did it now instead of later because they probably would have done it eventually. But like Alex Strife not being a part of Apex and them still doing that just shows that there's still some level of connections that's going on. Like Alex Strife leaving Apex and Nintendo still being there to sponsor and do all that stuff just shows that other people are, you know, keeping the connections and ties going. So I'm happy to hear that much at least.
Okay. All right. And so to close up this podcast, I just want closing statements on essentially what has been going on.
Seating.
Okay.
Do we speak about seating?
You want to talk about seating? Sure. But I'm going to answer something. NAKAT, ESAM, NICRODO have all basically said very toxic things about the Melee community. They are part of the problem. And to attest to that, I have said toxic things about the Melee community in the past. Because each time I saw that my community was getting hurt, I was hurt. And so I would argue back defending my community. However, as of recent, I've just stopped. Because there's no point at all. It's a part of being the bigger person. That's that.
I think...
Yeah, well, like, essentially, I love the game. And I love a bunch of people in the Melee community that I've gotten to meet and actually talk to and interact with. There are some really great people in both communities. It's just the bad apples that spoil it for everyone.
Yeah.
Yep, and there's bad apples in every community.
Yeah. Now, so closing statements, guys. Either one of you guys can go first. I don't care.
I will go. Cool. So, this has been a great talk. Always wanting to joining in the conversation. I hope that, you know, we try to view things from enough angles and enough. I mean, we only have our limited perspectives, but I hope we at least acknowledge that there's other opinions out there, there's other views, and if you have any questions about that or some of the data that I've been citing, just feel free to reach out to me. My Twitter is KirbyKid, and I'm pretty easy to reach. I'm going to be working for the Smash community in a really big way in the coming future. So just stay tuned for that. Get into contact with me if you have any ideas on how to help. I'm going to be reaching out to a lot of people here and anybody else who cares in order to make a difference. So I guess the main website that has that energy all concentrated is just found at www.smash.menu. And right now there is a survey there that you should take in order to, you know, throw your voice into the big effort that we're putting together here. So yeah, those are my closing statements. Everyone continue to play Smash and just have an open mind.
Katar is on.
Huh? I'm here. What's up?
Closing statement.
Oh no, go ahead.
I mean, all I can say is I understand you want to play whatever you want to play, but no reason to hate on other games. Just again, it's unproductive and wasted time. Show respect, and that's all there is to it. That's all I gotta say.
Katro.
I mean, even if you don't like another game, just try to show respect towards the other game. I feel like a lot of people we probably have in this discussion are most of them are Smash 4 players, so I feel like I believe that most of them will be respectful towards the other games when given the chance. I just hope that other communities will also be able to do so in the future.
Okay.
Including our own, because that doesn't confirm that our entire community is going to show respect, because there's a lot of people who don't.
Yeah, of course. Nothing will ever be perfect, but we can just try to get closer and closer to perfection. And on that note, it's like, it sucks that this even has to be a topic, that we even have to have this podcast, or that Melee figureheads have to write articles, as well as figureheads from my community. I personally, as well as probably many other people, just wish for a Smash community that is united. And while people are saying it's a waste of time, this will never happen, you know what? In actuality, you may be right. But I don't see the harm in trying. And essentially, that's what we're trying to do. That's what many people have been trying to do for a long time. And while it's not as bad as it used to be, we still do have a long way to go. And what we can do is just make things better for like the generations to come, because we won't all be doing this for our entire lives, and there will be younger generations of players that will carry the torch. And it's just a terrible look if this thing continues on years after we, pack up and leave behind our games that we've played for so many years in our memories. So guys, just try to be the bigger person, I would say. For you Melee players that do actually respect other communities and games, but you don't particularly like them, try to influence those who don't demonstrate the same behavior as you. And for Smash 4, Brawl, 64 players, please, try your best to be the bigger person. Same thing with Melee players that get attacked. Everyone should try to be the bigger person in any situation, because retaliating just fuels the fire, and it doesn't help anything. Just got to be more mature about it. Be the bigger person, really. That's the moral of the story. And I want to thank every single one of you guys for taking your time to come out and watch this podcast. I really do appreciate it. If you want to see any more content from me, feel free to